What's good? What's good? What's good? So we're again welcome back with another live stream. Welcome back to the channel. We are back. Should have moved the camera more in this direction. Is it pretty centered, or do I need to move it more this way? Let me know. 'Cause I know in the thumbnail you can clearly tell that it's not centered. But usually I try to keep it centered. But I said freaking this time. So, sorry, I was watching Tyrone Madness a little bit on some of his videos. He is a Superman hater. It makes me want to punch him. I cannot understand the fact that he hates the movie that much. It drives me insane. Because he's literally the only person that hates the damn movie. From what I've seen. I've not seen anybody else say the movie was trash. And he's over there being like, it was so bad. It's like, bruh. Like, what the frick is wrong with you? You know, it's craziness. He said it was too jokey and kiddie. I'm like, bro, where the frick? Like that is what Superman is, you dumbass. Like, what the frick? Wrong here. What's up, BJ? Welcome. I made it. Can't tell. Oh, you're good. Oh man, Dan could probably tell. Hopefully you can get your eye situation figured out. Hopefully it's not too bad to situate. So do I have the title right there, Dan? Episode 1, Part 1, and then Part 2? I think that's... What do you scrub? What's with all these parts, bro? Like, damn. Like, when I do episode 2, I'm gonna have to do episode 3 and both parts of episode 3. Oh, man. That'd be interesting. Yes, sir, yeah, you got it right. It's one episode. And damn, that was so big, it's 2 parts. Jesus. Alright, man, brother. You did that for episode 3 as well. It's 2 parts. Episode 4 is 3 parts. Good lord. Shadow time. God damn. Well, that one's gonna get something, so. It's gonna put part 1, part 2, part 3. Yeah, I see. Yeah, he said it's too kiddish. That's what he said. He said it's too kiddish, and I'm like, what's so kiddish about it? Like, he's a hater. I don't think he gave the movie a chance. as he says he did. I don't think he did. I don't find that true at all. I think he is a hater from the start. I don't think he didn't give him a chance. He didn't give it no chance. Because he was crying about the way the suit looked before, you know what I mean? He was doing all that. Do the first four. Your normal episodes, you understand once you see them? Well, I'm sure about that. Smoking that crack. Shit. Damn right on that one. That's why I'm hoping the movie makes you know what I mean. I hope it beats Man of Steel just to piss him off. I'm hoping it kills him with those numbers. That's what I'm hoping. And then he's thinking Fantastic Four is going to have legs. But to be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, based on the last film, Thunderbolts, that flopped hard. And that was a pretty decent film. Now, maybe he didn't think so. Maybe some people didn't think so. But I saw a majority like the film. So. Good Man of Steel. That's how I take it, yeah. No, I'm sure it is. It's been forever since I've seen that movie, I believe. I believe I did. Yep. I don't remember it, though. But I know that it's more serious than this and that, which I don't think is the Superman character. Might be able to squeeze in Hedgehog Bros. Well, I'd definitely try. Elon, give it a rest. You tweet too much. Worse than Trump. God damn. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try to squeeze him in. I don't know. I might not get the chance to. It depends. We'll see. I'm gonna definitely try. I know it'll fit this in fine, but it's the other one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna. So yeah, welcome back. We got World Gone Mad Season 4, and we got some episodes that are parts. So it's the same episode, but it's in parts. So it's more spread out. So this is going to be a little bit more interesting. We're going to have to combine episodes and stuff like that to get the bunch. In a sense, it's 2 episodes, but at the same time, it's not 2 episodes because it's the same episode. So, if you get that. So, episode 1 is in 2 parts, and we're going to be covering both parts. And then when we do episode 2 and 3, episode 3 also has 2 parts, so it's going to be 3 combined. So episode 2 is its own episode, and then when we get to 3, it's in 2 parts. So we'll be doing it that way. And then when we get to 4, that's in 3 parts, and then we'll just, do the whole thing together. So that's how we're doing it. So I'm keeping everything together as best to my abilities, because Dan wants to separate. No offense to Dan. But yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. Hello, welcome to Season 4, my man. Yes. Yes, it's exciting to start the new season. For sure. So smash that like button if you guys do enjoy. Would appreciate it. Go for 6, 7 likes. That'd be awesome. You guys show a lot of support for the series and me reacting to it, so I appreciate it. And we're on the final season too, and I think that my season 4 reactions will lead into season 5. I don't know which month season 5 is coming out, but at least not yet. Anyway, unless if Dan wants to keep it along. This is, but I think it will lead us right into it. I think it will, and that will be pretty hysterical, actually. I think. So, this fall of the month is yet to be revealed. God damn, you bastard! Nah, it's all good. It's all good. Though it would give me a better understanding. It would give me a better understanding. These are hints. The spooky times. Ah, okay. That's a good hint. That's a very good hint. Alright. I know exactly what month you're talking about then. I know exactly what month you're talking about. Then, that might link up right to it. That might. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. If I do these 2, then next week I do 3. Weekend 3. Weekend 2. 2. No, excuse me, 1, 2. I might have to do like 3 episodes here and there, that type of thing. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That's very possible. Yeah, I'm gonna have to combine some episodes. Alright, so we're gonna jump right into it. My reaction to this series will eventually be in the description, so definitely do check that out. It's not there yet because I'm gonna create. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of get caught up with work on that. Then I'll create it. And then I will create it. And I think I'll combine the prey and all that. I'll probably combine all that in there. So I'll pretty much do what Dan's doing. So it'll work. So yeah, definitely do check out Dan Reviews. Show him credit. All support goes to him. All credit goes to him. Link for his channel is in the description, as always, for me reacting to this series, as well as the playlist for his complete World on Matt's universe. So definitely do check that out. 78 videos, and soon to be more. He'll probably hit 100 by the time he's done with season 5, or maybe even gets going with season 5. I think he would probably crush 100 videos, which is crazy. But yeah, so definitely do check that out. Show him love and support. My man makes awesome series. So definitely check it out for yourselves. You probably might like it or enjoy it yourself. And I think it would be an awesome experience for yourself to experience it. So And of course, you can be watching it with me as you're seeing my reaction to it as well. Maybe that'll make it more entertaining in some aspects. Um, so yeah, we are getting to the end though. We are getting to the end here. Obviously, War Gone Mad is far from over, which is great. But we're getting caught up to the point where we're going to be up to date with it. And after I do fully catch up with season 4, if I do actually get caught up to where I'm with season 5, then I will stick with it until we have a mid-break or something like that. Which then, in that case, I will go back to the Prey and continue through that for the break of War Gone Mad, because I'm sure he's going to do a season break more than likely. So more than likely he'll do a season 5 mid-break. So in that case, I will use that time to catch up with War Gone Mad, the Prey. So which is a 10-parter, so I might do a couple, maybe 3 or something like that, maybe 4 parts. Actually, maybe 5 parts. Yeah, I might do 5 parts because they're pretty short actually. Some of these don't even hit 10 minutes, so yeah, I'll probably do 5 parts and then do the other 5 parts because I think you have multiple seasons of the Prey as well. Yeah, you do. So that'll keep it interesting. That will surely keep it interesting. And then I see them get it longer too. Okay, interesting. So yeah, so I'll probably do that. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I'll probably do 5 parts. Just because we can rack them out easily. And that will be during the break. Well, maybe I might do 3 parts. Yeah, I might do 3 parts. It might be a little bit shorter. Maybe we'll see. Might do 3 parts. It'll be a little bit shorter, of course, but yeah, I'll probably do 3 episodes, 3 parts in this case. Excuse me. Look at the universe playlist. Makes sense. The Queen is dead. What now? Fantasy Day available. Yeah, 5A will be weekly episodes, but there will be a mid-season break. Yeah, figured. Figured. Appreciate you also showing a lot of love and support for the Walker Dead's Zombie Apocalypse series. Been getting a lot of support on that, so I do appreciate that. Hope you guys are enjoying the episodes. We're waiting for episode 3, which will be next week. I think we'll be more on point with that episode than we were with number 2. And obviously we do got Fly By Night, so we are keeping that going with that series. We got episode 2 coming up on this Friday, so I'm going to be shooting for Friday night. That will be reacting to. So now my right ear is itchy. Okay, there we go. Always gets itchy the worst time. But yeah, so we got episode 2 reaction, and we'll be continuing that. I think episode 3 will probably be next week, I would assume. And then obviously we'll have a mid-break on that. And then we have the next 3 episodes there. So, I'll keep you guys posted. When we'll be, obviously, like I said, this Friday we'll be doing it. We'll be after Hedgehog Bros. So we'll do an episode of Hedgehog Bros. And we'll do Fly By Night. So, definitely excited to react to it for sure. That first premiere was really good, very good. I don't even know what I gave it. I think I gave it an 8, didn't I? Or 8.5, something like that. We're gonna give it a 9. I don't remember. It was a decent rating, I know that. So yeah, definitely curious to see what continues after. Yeah, we're getting to the end stages here. We're really racking this content out for you guys. Father Night this Friday with the promo for 103. The follow as per usual. A 9 would give it a great rating. Oh yeah, 9? Oh, that's right, that's right. I know I gave it a high rating. I didn't remember which one. Yeah, a 9. Yeah, that sounds about right. A 9. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Pretty damn good, actually. So, let's see if episode 2 will keep that hype. Definitely curious if it does. So yeah, definitely hit that like button. Appreciate it very much. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Would appreciate that if you guys like my reactions to and reviews of the series and future reactions that we do here on the channel, like Hedgehog Bros and Walking Dead. Eventually Dexter. So we got to finish that season 3, I believe, of Hell's Kitchen. So we have that. Then you got Game of Thrones thrown in there, and Breaking Bad. So definitely some fire series that we're reacting to, and exciting 100%. So so yeah, 401. Yeah, let's do it. Did I hear Dexter? Yeah. Oh yes, yes he did. Yes he did. You're Mr. Dexter, man. I don't even know what episodes we're on with Hell's Kitchen. I'm not even sure. But yeah. Yep, we're going to be starting Dexter. Season 1, episode 1, 2, and 3. We'll be doing 3 episodes at a time. So, should be exciting. For sure. I hope I like the show. I do. I hope I like it, because I don't know. It could be one of those shows where I'm like, it's not for me, you know? It could be. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to give it all my all, though. 100%. So, give it my all. Fire shows you got going. Yes, sir. So, anyways, we got episode 1, a lengthy one. Alright, the first part is 52 minutes, just under 53 minutes. So, and then obviously I gotta get back on the game, the walkthroughs. I gotta get on the gameplay walkthroughs, so I gotta get back into that too. I think tonight I'll start kind of rocking it with Cinema's Part 2. So, after Hedgehog Bros. So yeah. So here we go. I'll adjust the volume as we go. Chapter 1. Obstacles. Yes, I said that. Obstacles. That's a tricky one. Interesting.
In the middle of the night, we see a woman sitting by a campfire. We can see she's shivering, and she's got a lot of the undead blood on her face. She then hears something from the woods that spooks her. She hears the sound of footsteps in the woods. As she starts to panic, she looks scared for her life. She quickly puts out the fire and hides inside of a bush.
Ooh, creepy way of starting.
We then see 6 men step out of the woods in a pack. They notice the campfire is still smoking, and we see none of these men are talking. One of them points forward, and they all follow as they keep walking. From what we can tell, they're trying to find this woman.
Ooh.
Once these men start walking towards the bushes, she then starts running away before they see her. As we see her running through the woods, one of these men see her running from a distance and points at the other 5 men, and they all pull out their knives and start chasing after her. She keeps running as fast as she can, but then she falls into a river filled with blood and dead corpses.
Damn.
She has no choice but to stay under the water, covered in the undead blood.
Oh.
But as she's trying to stay hidden from these men, one of the dead corpses inside the river turns and attacks her from under the water. As she's struggling with it, she uses one of the bones that's in the water from one of the corpses and uses it to stab it in the head.
Shit.
But then, as she's crawling out of the river, we see the men are coming. So she quickly plays dead and lays there with the rest of the dead bodies as the men just pass her by. Once these men are gone, she slowly gets up and starts breathing heavily in a panic. As she is then covered in blood, we then see it's starting to rain. As she sees her chance, she then runs the opposite direction from where the men went, and she starts running away as fast as she can in order to get away from these men. 3 hours later. It's still raining, but as we see this woman is walking the roads with nothing. No food, no water, no weapons, or anywhere to go. She finds an old truck on the side of the road, but we see this woman is so scared that she even looks afraid to even approach the truck. But as she slowly walks towards it, she opens up the door ever slowly. We see her get in and close the door. We see she's shaking from fear and being out in the rain. She then sees it has a quarter of a tank of gas left. She starts driving super fast down the road, trying to get as far out of danger as possible. As she's driving, we see her crying her eyes out and beating on the dash, screaming, "No." But after a few seconds of driving, the truck then gives out on her. She's saying, "No, no, 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 no." She then looks scared and says, "Lord, please, show me a sign, please. Anything. Lord, please, show me the way. Show me a sign, please, please." And she then steps out of the truck and starts walking down the road once again.
Wow. What an interesting way to start, Shirley. And new, too. You're not wrong about it being new.
We see it's now the next night. We see she's been walking through the woods all day and she looks tired and dehydrated. But as she then finally drops to her knees, she lets out a big scream and she starts to break down. As she keeps crying, she tells herself, okay, you aren't dead yet. You aren't dead. A man then comes out of the woods and knocks her to the ground. The woman is on the ground and is panicking. As the man walks up to her, he pulls out a knife as she tries to ask, "Please, tell me what you did to my friends." But the man doesn't say anything. And the woman looks scared and is shaking and says, "Say something. Please. Please." But then he is shot in the throat. As blood starts pouring out of his neck, the man falls to his death. But as the girl turns around, we see who did this.
Oh?
There we see Sydney with a fully loaded shotgun. As we see the smoke still coming out of the gun, she puts it over her shoulder, and the woman looks scared and asks, "Are you here to kill me?" Sydney laughs at this and says, "Why do people always expect the worst? You look like shit. I'm Sydney Roy. And, who might you be?"
start. I like the new fresh look. Looks good. Very refreshing. Yeah, new character. Wow, that's great. Nice. Oh yeah. New character is there in his style. Yes. That was a great opening. Already getting to like it.
We see a post-apocalyptic bus yard. We see a motorcycle and an old pickup truck parked to the side. As we cut to Lincoln, Tom and Kezia sitting around a campfire. We see they're eating some squirrels, and Tom says, I always get the ass end. Lincoln says, did not. Tom says, look, that is a squirrel's ass. Kezia says, oh my god, you two. Oh, by the way, as she pulls out a bottle of liquor, found this in the back of one of the buses. Tom says, damn. I got my liquor, I got some rotten ass. Just when I thought life was falling right into place, I get some ass juice in my mouth. Kezia rolls her eyes and says, Jesus Christ, Sydney, why do you gotta leave me with all these boys? Kezia gets up and says, gonna check the stairs. As we see her walk off, we then hear the sound of a dog barking. We then see a small little black lab run up to Tom with a stick, and Tom says, oh, good boy. Lincoln says, damn, he's all pumped up tonight. Tom says, no shit, I found him running around with an old pair of my underwear last week. Lincoln says, you've had this little guy for a few weeks now. You got a name yet? Tom says, not yet. Hopefully one day he'll be able to take down deadheads all by himself. Lincoln says, shit, that'd be useful. Tom says, oh, I think he finally settled down. He starts petting him and says, yeah. You calm now? You calm now, Snoop Dogg? Lincoln spits his drinks out and says, Snoop Dogg? You can't name a puppy Snoop Dogg. Tom says, I just did. He's like Snoopy, my favorite cartoon. And he's a dog. Snoop Dogg. I like it. Lincoln says, you're so fucked. Tom says, you're fucked. Lincoln says, yeah, well, you're double fucked. Tom says, yeah, well, you're triple fucked in the head. Lincoln says, all right, well, rapper dog it is. Tom says, Snoop Dogg. Just wait. You'll get used to it. Kezia then comes back and says, hey, guys, forgot we had some canned goods in the back of the truck. I see the dog came back. Tom says, yup, Snoop Dogg is back. Kezia says, that's kind of a shitty name. What would make you think of... Tom looks at her, and she says, yeah, that's so creative. Tom says, hey, what is Sydney getting back with more firewood? Shit's kind of dying on us here. Lincoln says, I'll check in. And he picks up the walkie-talkie and says, Sydney, this is Lincoln. If you hear this, please respond. And they don't hear a response. And Tom says, maybe her walkie died. But then, they then hear a gunshot from a distance. They all get up in a panic, and Lincoln walkies, Sydney, what the hell was that? Sydney! But they don't hear a response. And Tom says, wherever that shot came from, it's close. Lincoln says, it was her. Kezia says, how do you know? Lincoln says, all my years of training. I learned about a lot. But one of the biggest ones is the sound of a pump-action shotgun. Kezia says, she wouldn't fire a shot unless it was absolutely necessary. They all look scared, but then we hear Sydney's voice come in over the walkie. Found a woman, girl, looks to be her. I'm bringing her back. Lincoln grabs his machete and says, tell me where you are, we'll come to you. Sydney says, no, stay where you are. There's some bad people out here. They may be on our tail. We need to make sure they don't see us. Lincoln says, all right, you're okay? Sydney says, I'm fine, just stay where you are. And Lincoln says, all right, be careful. Sydney says, wow, we will.
Way different.
We see it starting to rain really bad. as we see Sydney and this woman running through the woods. We see over 10 deadheads up the hill, and Sydney says, "Oh shit, get back." They both back up against the tree, and Sydney says, "Those deadheads hear us, we're both dead." Sydney looks behind the tree as we see 5 men walking through the woods. One of them pulls out a small dagger and kills all of the deadheads so quickly like they're nothing.
Damn.
We see one of these men with a bloody chainsaw, and they are marching in a pack.
Oh shit.
The girl is shaking in fear, and Sydney whispers, "Who are they?" The girl says, "People that want me dead. They find me, and it's over for you. Go. This isn't your fight. It's mine. And it's just a matter of time before they have my head." Sydney whispers, "These people are hunting you. And if you can't already tell, I'm in this just as much as you are now." We see the men pass them by and go the opposite direction. Sydney sees their chance and says to the girl, "Let's go." But the girl is frozen and says, "Please, please, they're gonna find me." Sydney says, "Look, I know you're scared, but we don't go now, we won't be going anywhere. If it's not them, it'll be the dead." The woman looks terrified, but nods to say yes, and Sydney says, "I'm right here. I'm not gonna let them get to you, okay?" And the girl says, "Why are you doing this?" Sydney says, "Because I've had to watch people die under my watch by the evil before. And even though I don't know who you are, I know a scared person when I see one." And the girl has a small smile on her face and says, "Name's Rivers." And Sydney says, "Okay, Rivers, now let's get you somewhere safe." And they head back up towards the bus yard.
Whoa. That's good.
We see the men walking through the woods. One of them spots footprints that are leading up the hill. And there's 2 different sets of footprints, confirming they are right on their trail. And they all, as a group, start heading in that direction.
Woo.
Back at the bus yard, we see Rivers is tied up, and she's inside of one of the empty buses. She looks to have been cleaned up, and we see Lincoln, Tom, Kezia, and Sydney all talking outside. As Rivers is listening from inside, we hear Sydney says, "She was near death. If dehydration wasn't going to take her out, that man certainly would have." Lincoln asks, "Did you see any more of them while you were out there?" Sydney says, "There were more, and they were heading in the opposite direction. But God knows how long that's going to last." Lincoln looks at all 3 of them and says, "Well, let's find out." They open the door, and Rivers looks scared and says, "Sydney?" Lincoln slowly approaches her and says, "It's all right." Sydney walks in, as well as Tom, and Lincoln says, "Kezia, keep watch, would you mind?" Kezia says, "You got it, boss." Rivers is shaking, and Lincoln says, "It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you, all right? Now, I'm going to untie you, but I'm going to ask you a question that I need answering to. Are we going to have a problem here?" Rivers says, No problem." Lincoln slowly removes the rope and says, "Now, my friend found you out there about to be murdered by man, correct?" Rivers looks scared and doesn't say anything, and Lincoln says, "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to cooperate with me here. Now, what is your involvement with these people? And I need to know, are my people here in danger? That's something I'm going to need an answer to, and I'm sure you must understand given what you know about these men." Rivers says, "You should run while you have the chance." Lincoln says, "And why should we do that? What do they want to kill you for?" Rivers says, "Most of you." Rivers says, "My camp was attacked 3 nights ago."
Why do they keep doing this to me? You fucking assholes. Why do you keep putting me in these fucking... I apologize for that. Stop. Jesus Christ. Bro, these people don't have no fucking respect at all. I'm sorry, I'm going through and blocking all of them because this is ridiculous. Like, you're throwing me in random group chats for no fucking reason I don't even want to be in. And then you're fucking calling when I'm trying to do shit. The most disrespect ever. Anyway. Care. All you bastards. No. No more. I don't understand people sometimes. Sitting here getting into the damn store and freaking calling me. It's like, bruh, the fuck? Okay. Making sure my iPad is good because should be good. Sorry, this only started happening recently, and I don't understand why. I don't freaking get it. What I don't like is when random people just throw you in fucking group chats you didn't even ask to be in, and then you freaking call at the convenient time that I'm freaking streaming. It's like, the fuck? It's like, what the hell? Like, where's the respect? Like, why you even throw me in that anyway? Like, I don't want to be in any group chats, but do not do it without my permission. Like, damn. Like, Jesus Christ. I don't get those freaking Discord people, man. They're idiots. Truly, they are. I don't think they have any respect. At least those specific people. I don't know. I didn't know any of them. I didn't know if they were your people that were in here. I don't even know. None of them looked familiar to me. So I just blocked every single one of them. I don't give a damn. And then I left the group chat. So that's a fair warning to anybody that has me on Discord. Do not call me when I am streaming, please. Otherwise, you will hear an earful from me. Do not do that, and do not put me in random group chats either. That's a disrespect, and I do not appreciate it.
As far as I know, I'm the only survivor that made it out alive. She starts crying and says, I should have left when we had the chance. Lincoln says, so these people that my friend here shot, they're the ones that took out your camp? Rivers nods to mean yes, and Lincoln says, who are they? Rivers looks scared, and Sydney says, it's okay. She looks at Lincoln and says, they're a group of masked people that blend into the darkness. They hide their faces with these masks. And all I know is when they make a demand, you listen, or you're gonna have nothing, if your head is even attached by then. Tom says, what kind of masks? River says, from what I can see, they go by the name the Apostles. And they don't stop until you're dead. And if they want to kill you, they're not going to stop until you're dead. Tom says, and why are they trying to kill you? River starts breaking down, and Sydney notices she's shaking and says, all right guys, enough. Lincoln apologizes to Rivers and says, I'm sorry. We'll let you get some food into your stomach first. You hungry? Rivers nods and Lincoln says, Tom, go get her something to eat. Tom says, sure. What do you think, Rivers? Ed or X? Lincoln says, oh, would you knock that off? Go get her some food. Come on, hurry. Lincoln says, sorry about that. You'll get used to it. So, your camp. Your friends. Do you know if anyone else survived? Rivers says, I don't. All those days out there being hunted by the evil that wanted my head. The only thing that kept me fighting was the possibility that... Lincoln asks, that what? Rivers says, that my father and my little brother might still be out there, somewhere. Lincoln says, I'm sorry. Rivers says, you should go. You and your friends. I'm a dead woman anyway. You don't deserve this, so go. Leave now while you have the chance. Rivers starts crying, and Lincoln walks up to her and says, we are not turning back. I brought my people out here on this mission, and this mission is not finished. We may not get the supplies that we came out here to get, but who cares? We'll come out here some other time. And the only thing that I care about is making sure that every single one of those people that are out there right now can go home and sleep in their beds tonight. Lincoln then continues, I'm not giving up. I'm not letting you give up. And River says, giving up on what? Lincoln says, survival. That redhead guy out there with the beard, he and his friend found me in the woods. I had lost my family when everything fell. I was starving. I had nowhere to go. Just like you. And I tried to take everything that they had. But even after I tried to do something like that, Tom and his friend, Billy, saw the person I was beneath all this pain. And what they really saw was a person who didn't want to be on their own, deep down. When they said they would come with me and help me look for my family, I wasn't sure why. Why me, you know? It took me years to figure out why, but I think I'm starting to get it. River says, what? Lincoln says, so I could help someone else do the same thing. Find their place. Find safety. Find a reason for survival. And most importantly, find their family. And she wipes her tears and says, thank you. But I don't want to be a burden. Lincoln looks at her and puts his hand on her shoulder and says, the only burden will be whatever stops us from getting home. Rivers looks scared and hesitant, but she hugs him and says, thank you. Thank you so much. And Lincoln sees she's still shaking, and he says, you don't have to be afraid anymore.
Damn.
Lincoln says, Tom, we all packed up? Tom says, all ready, sir. Don't tell me she's eating in my truck. Lincoln says, oh, for God's sakes. Tom, you cleaned your truck a month ago now. Let the girl eat. Tom says, oh, all right, bud. Fuck's sakes. Lincoln says, Kezia, anything out there? Kezia says, we're in the clear, boss. Lincoln says, all right. As we see them all get into the truck, Lincoln gets on his motorcycle, and they all ride out together to go home. And as we see them driving down the road, as we then see shadows of people watching them drive away from the forest.
Ooh, creepy. Oh.
We see a deadhead walking onto the post-apocalyptic road. As we follow this deadhead, we see it walk by a sign on the side of the road. Written on it, Ziltramite, your road to survival's destination.
Yeah.
We then follow the deadhead into the woods.
Wow. Beautiful shot.
A few hours later, we see the deadhead walking in an open field. We then see someone kills it with a machete. We then see it's a teenage boy, and we see Catherine is with him and says, "You're getting better." And we see he has a hard time pulling the blade out of its skull. And we then see Dave walks up to Catherine, and she says, "Looks like he's getting the hang of it." And Dave says, "Yeah, maybe in a few days I'll take him hunting for gold." And Catherine chuckles and gives him a small punch on the arm.
Yeah.
Dave says, "What?" Catherine says, "Come on, give the kid a break. He wanted to learn." And Dave says, "Yeah, but me? I got a whole lot better things to do around here." Catherine chuckles at this and says, "Yeah, like what? Hanging at Tom's place drinking 10 beers each? Is that what you call being productive these days?" Dave says, "Hey, one of these days I'm going to beat that motherfucker at Twister. The more beers that man drinks, the more likely I'll win one of these days." And Catherine says, "Well, looks like you two will get back to it soon, because the kid looks like he's almost ready for runs now." Dave says, "Give it a few more days. One thing my father always told me, the one thing that's never overkill is proper training." And Catherine asks, "Where do you get that from?" Dave says, "His trainer, Henry Stevens. Boy, he was a hard ass according to Dad, but he was a damn good soldier because of it. So it's never a bad thing for the kid to get proper experience out there. Not bad at all." We then see the kid still struggling to get the axe out of the deadhead's brain. And Dave and Catherine see him struggling with it. And Dave says, "Oh, for fuck's sakes." And they walk over to him, and Dave says, hold on. And the kid says, "I can't take it out. Can you do it?" Dave says, "Oh, sure, kid. I mean, we're all beginners and all." "Are you fucking crazy? Get in there." "All right, now, put your right foot on his fucking chest." And the kid does it and says, "Okay, what's next?" Dave says, "You want me to get a pen and paper and break it all down for you? Take that machete out of that motherfucker." The kid pulls and pulls, and it finally comes out of the deadhead's brain, but the blood goes all over the kid's face. The kid flinches at this and says, "Ugh, gross. Oh my god. Oh, that's gross." Dave says, "Nothing a shower can't fix. Go on, back to the horses. That's enough training for the day." The kid asks, "That was a good kill though, right?" Dave says, "Oh yeah, it was fucking incredible." And the kid says, "Thanks, Mr. Miller." And as he walks up the hill and walks far enough away from them, Dave says, "Oh, horrible kill." Catherine says, "Oh, the worst I've ever seen." And then they both walk up the hill and back to their horses.
Mr. Dave.
We then see them walk to the horses that are tied up by the trees. And Catherine says, "Well, another day and not one bit of food out here." And Dave says, "We'll try again tomorrow." Catherine says, "Yeah, well, hopefully Lincoln and the others will come back with something." Dave says, "Oh, they're not going to be back for a few more days. I'll tell you what, I'll stay out for a bit. I'll tell you what, take the pussy home, wipe his tears, and get him ready for lessons tomorrow. I'll be back in a few hours." And Catherine says, "You sure? We've only got another hour's worth of daylight at least, if we're lucky." And Dave says, "Don't worry about that. There's a reason I wear black, darling. I mean, for a while there, I was nothing but a silhouette. All I was a crazy maniac in the woods with no face. Nobody knew what I looked like, especially in the dark." And Catherine says, "I can come with you." And Dave says, "Don't worry, babe. I'll be fine. Besides, the kid wants to go home." And Catherine says, "Okay, just be careful." She kisses him, and Dave says, "I will." And they then ride off and go their separate ways.
Dave seems to be doing well. Yeah, good kid from the community. Dave's training. Heck yeah.
As we transition to them riding over the hills, we see two of them riding on horseback, and Catherine says, "You did good today, Zach." And Zach says, "Really think so?" Catherine says, "Oh yeah, we had a little trouble back there, but it's all just a little bit of practice." Zach says, "I just want to be brave enough, you know? When they start running at me, I want to be able to shoot them like they're a fucking mosquito or something." She says, "Running?" Zach says, "We've been hearing these horror stories about deadheads that run faster than most people. It's something we all need to be prepared for. Thought you knew." Catherine says, "No offense, kid, but I think they're fooling you. The dead don't run. And besides, those patrols are bored shitless. They'd say anything to take a day from boring to interesting." Zach says, "Maybe it's real. It's not any crazier than the dead walking around eating our brains in the first place. Humans evolve. So why wouldn't the dead? But maybe you're right. Maybe it's just bullshit. Oh, I hope it is. And they both ride back to Kingstonville together.
That's cool. I like the video format.
We see Kingstonville as we see people walking around, people working, and we then see Catherine walks into a restaurant where we see Luke and a woman named Jill. She says, "Sorry I'm late. Had another lesson with Zach earlier today." Luke says, "Oh, how's he coming along?" Catherine says, "Better, actually. I think a few more lessons will be ready to send him out on runs in no time." Jill says, "Glad to hear. Oh, by the way, there's a council meeting tomorrow at 8. Catherine says, "Oh, again?" Jill says, "Huh, tell me about it." Luke says, "Yeah, apparently some shit about a wall expansion." Catherine says, "Lincoln's the head of the council, though. He said we weren't doing the expansion for another month." Luke says, "Apparently Lincoln's word isn't as important as we thought." Catherine looks kind of on edge, and Luke says, "Frankly, I'm just happy we're able to keep this place going after..." Catherine says, "Yeah, I know." Catherine says, "Wow, what are we ordering tonight?" Luke says, "I don't know. I hear there's a special on ribs." And we see the waitress walks up to them and says, "Are we ready to order?" Catherine smiles, and we then cut to nightfall. We see all three of them walking out of the restaurant, and Catherine says, "See you guys tomorrow." Luke says, "Yup, see you at 8. And we all see them go their separate ways. Catherine walks up to Haley and Lincoln's house and rings the doorbell. Haley opens up the door and says, "Hey." Rose runs up to Catherine, and Catherine says, "Hey, baby, I missed you." She says to Haley, "Thanks for looking after her." Haley says, "Oh, it's no problem. They both had a fun play date today. Right, Billy?" Billy walks up to them, covered in chocolate, and Haley says, "Oh my God, sweetie, I told you not to touch those brownies. How many times do I need to say this to you?" And little Billy says, "I know, Mom, but Tom always told me that food is priority over everything. That and something called liquor." "What is liquor, Mom?" Haley looks at Catherine and says, "I'm so sorry about this. Just go to the bathroom and clean yourself up." "I'm gonna kill that guy." And Billy says, as he's being led to the bathroom, "But Mom, what is liquor?" Haley says, "Well, liquor is something you'll have when you're in your 30s. Now go on, get washed up." And Haley walks back up to Catherine and says, "Anyway, aside from that little fiasco, it's been a pretty good day." Catherine laughs and says, "Well, anyway, thanks for watching her. I'll see you tomorrow for the council meeting." Haley says, "Tomorrow at 8, right?" Catherine says, "Yeah, want to talk about the next wall expansion, apparently." And Haley says, "Sounds kind of boring." Catherine says, "You want to just stare at a wall the entire time?" Haley says, "You got it. Can't wait." And Catherine says, "Yup, can't contain my excitement. Anyway, nice to see you." And her and Rose go home as we see Haley shuts the door.
Yeah, running, that's new. Yeah, that's it. They are running. I know. Good bullshit, right?
As it cuts to night, we see Catherine sleeping in her bed as we see flashes of her dream. In her dream, we see blood in the streets of Kingstonville. As we see a man with a knife in a black hoodie. We hear screams as we see Catherine's look of fear in her eyes. Kingstonville has been attacked. She wakes up from the dream in a panic. She walks out of her room and opens up Rose's bedroom door to find her fast asleep and looks relieved. She then puts on her jacket and goes outside to take a walk and clear her head. We see Catherine climb up the guard tower, where we see Roger and Julia on watch playing cards. Roger sees Catherine climb up and says, "Damn, Mrs. Miller, you don't look so good. Are you feeling okay?" Catherine says, "Oh yeah, I think I must have ate something earlier. It's just not sitting well with me, I guess." Roger says, "Oh, I've been there. Hey, Jules, wasn't it last week Tom tried to make us this... Oh man, I'm forgetting what it is now." Julia says, "Oh, you talking about that beer chicken thing he made for us last week?" Roger says, "Yeah, that's it." Cat, listen, I swear. Tom invites me over for dinner, right? So me and Luke go over there and... oh my god, the poor bastard tried to warn me too. So I went, I ate the shit, and oh my god, I ain't kidding you. Julia says, "Fucking rough one." Roger says, oh my god, I think I was on the toilet the whole night after that. Julia says, huh, no kidding. Ever since I've gone over the age of 21, my dad's been on this whole new alcohol-flavored food kick. Roger says, tell me about it. Catherine looks out into the distance from the top of the tower and says, well, I'm up. If you guys want to go to sleep, I got this. She pulls out the baby monitor and says, Rose is fast asleep. Everything's fine. And Roger says, you sure? Catherine says, oh yeah. Go on, guys, get some rest. And Julia says, I'm not tired. And Roger says, well, in that case, what do you say, kid? As Roger stands up and says, want to go out on one of them 2 a.m. drives like we used to? Julia says, hell yeah.
Very cool. And he has to ride over for 5 years, so yeah.
We see the river flowing. As we pan over to the road, we're back with Lincoln as he drives by on his motorcycle. We then see Tom, Sydney, Kezia, Rivers, and sitting on her lap is Snoop Dogg. Tom says, he seems to be quite fond of you already. Yes, you are. Yeah, good boy. Sydney says, yeah, but Snoop Dogg? Really? Tom says, you got something better? Sydney says, no, just happy dogs can't smoke dope. And Tom says, And Sydney says, don't even think about it. We then see Lincoln in front of the truck driving his bike, and he sees it's starting to rain, but he thinks nothing of it. But then he sees lightning, and he pulls out his walkie and says, Tom, we're gonna have to stop for a bit. Tom says, yeah, I see it. It's your call, buddy. Lincoln says, we'll keep going. I think I saw a sign that said there's a gas station down this way. We'll stop there till this blows over. Tom says, copy that. As they keep riding, they approach a very long and covered bridge. As they're about to drive through, out of nowhere, crows come flying out of the bridge. Lincoln ducks and says, Jesus! He stops his bike and looks down this very long covered bridge. He picks up his walkie and says to Tom on the walkie, keep your headlights on. I can't see shit. And Sydney says, all right. Sydney taps Tom on the shoulder and says, okay, drive slow. As they slowly are driving through this covered bridge, we see them going very slow. As Lincoln looks ahead and says, all right, about halfway there. As they get closer to the end, Lincoln stops his bike in a panic as he sees the shadow of a man at the end of the bridge, standing in the rain. Lincoln looks freaked out, and the man pulls out a knife. Lincoln gets off his bike, and Sydney says, who the hell is that? Lincoln says, keep the truck running. Be ready. Sydney says, just one man? Lincoln says, there could be more. Lincoln looks at this man, and then he looks back at Tom and says, turn back. Sydney says, they got us cut off. Lincoln looks back and sees these men all surrounding both sides of the bridge. Sydney says, what do we do? As Tom backs up the truck, Sydney looks through the rearview mirror and says, Tom, stop. They look behind them and they see 2 other men standing on the other side of the bridge. Lincoln says, what the hell's going on? Why'd you stop? Lincoln then gets off his bike and looks at the man at the end of the bridge and pulls out his machete and says, fuck. They all light up their masks as all 3 of them start running towards them with knives. Lincoln takes a swipe at the one in front of him and he misses. The man slices Lincoln's arm and punches him and he falls to the ground.
Damn.
Tom and Sydney then run in and Tom comes in with his axe, but the man kicks Tom in the leg.
Damn.
Sydney then tries to interfere, but he slams her to the ground and she goes down. The man then punches Tom in the face and Tom punches back, but the man knocks Tom on his ass. Meanwhile, the other 2 see Rivers from a distance and they run up to her. But Kezia gets in the way and slices his throat open and one of them goes down. The other man tackles Kezia and starts beating her face in, and he hits her head hard on the wood floor. Rivers sees this and looks back and sees Lincoln, Tom, and Sydney on the floor as the men are about to finish everyone off. She sees inside the truck Sydney's shotgun in the back seat, and she reaches for it. Rivers cocks it and notices it's empty. She then searches through the truck and finds nothing. And as she's rushing, she finds 2 bullets left in the dash. As she loads the shotgun, and as Kezia is getting beat up by this guy, we then see Rivers shoots him in the head. As she looks back at the last guy who's about to kill Lincoln and says, "Oh, don't worry, I'm not leaving you out." And she blows the man's brains out. She then walks up to Sydney and helps her up and says, "This thing's got a kick." And Tom says to Lincoln, "Damn, I'm starting to really like this." Lincoln slowly gets up and walks over to the dead man and says, "What the hell are these people?" Sydney says, "These aren't people." Lincoln says, "How many of them were out there?" Sydney says, "I saw 5. Lincoln rubs his head and says, "They've got people." Rivers gives Sydney her shotgun back and Rivers says, "We'll find them. As long as I'm out here, they're going to keep coming." Kezia gets up with a bleeding face as she spits up a little bit of blood, and Lincoln says, "You good?" Kezia says, "I'm fine." Tom says, "We need to go." Sydney says, "Yeah, but where?" Lincoln says, "Someplace with a lock." Lincoln picks up his machete and says, "Let's get the fuck out of here." As they get into the truck, Lincoln says, "We gotta get the hell out of here and get out of this storm. Let's get to this gas station immediately. It's not that far from here." As they all drive out of this covered bridge and try to find somewhere safe.
That was intense.
We then cut to Roger and Julia as we see them riding the roads late at night. Roger, who's driving, passes her a cigarette and she says, "I'm good." Roger says, "Alright. Sun will be up soon." Julia says, "Hopefully my dad will be back in a few days." Roger asks, "Why didn't you go with him?" Julia says, "I'm needed back home." Roger says, "Planting vegetables and reading 50 Shades of Grey 50 times over?" Julia says, "I just want to help." Roger says, "And you have. But you're good out here, and I know you miss it. Facing the dead? You told me a few years back that you had to be out here. It was like your therapy, so you said." "What changed?" Julia says, "It hasn't changed. It's just, after what happened last year," Roger says, "that wasn't your fault." Julia says, "Yeah, that's what my dad told me. But that's what dads are supposed to say, right?" Roger says, "Trust me, Jules. Tom is too honest for his own good. I don't think I've seen that man tell one lie." Julia says, "All I know is that what we went through last year, we can't let that happen again." Roger says, "We went through something that we should have been prepared for. But after all the bad that we went through, I always feel like there's a reason why it happened. And I think this time, it's trusting people. It isn't as easy as we think it is." Julia says, "No shit." Roger says, "Well, I don't know much about this undead world these days, but it's just so damn unpredictable. But the one thing I do know is that anybody that survived this long either has to be seriously organized or completely out of their minds." Well, actually, maybe a little bit of both. Julia kind of laughs a bit, and Roger says, "No, seriously though, there's some crazy motherfuckers out here." He continues to say, "Ah, kid, there's some things you're just gonna miss growing up in this fucked up world. But you've adapted well for your age." Julia smiles and says, "Actually, this has probably been the best time of my life." Roger looks like he feels sorry for her, and she says, "My mom, she was never leading me down the right path. But now, somehow through all this, I feel like I matter, finally, in my life." Roger puts his arm around her and he says, "Come here, kid." And he says, "Well, I'd say things are starting to get a lot better." Roger then slams the brakes as they stop the truck. They see a herd of over 1,000 deadheads at the end of the road. As we zoom out, the dead stop walking. They all slowly turn their heads as they see the truck from a distance.
Oh shit.
All the dead start charging
Oh
towards the
shit.
truck.
What the fuck?
Roger says, "Oh, fuck." Julia says, "Turn around!" Roger, in a panic, tries to wheel the truck around. They turn it around, and the truck goes into the ditch. As they're trying to get away, Julia says, "They're coming!"
Damn.
The truck then gets stuck in the ditch.
Oh,
Julia says, "Board it! Board it!" Roger says, Come on. The dead then run up and start banging on the truck. Roger says, "Fine, all right, I'm gonna give it all I got. Hold on tight." He backs the truck up into the crowd of the dead, and the blood splatters all over the truck.
Oh,
then
damn.
Roger forwards it, and they drive away as fast as they can. But as Julie is looking back, over 1,000 deadheads are following the truck from behind them, and they're running towards the truck. Roger looks freaked out and says, "Holy shit, those are runners." Julie says, "Have you ever seen that before?" Roger says, "I thought I did, but Jesus Christ." Julia says, "Speed it up. We gotta beat this herd before it gets home." Roger then picks up his walkie. We then see Catherine sitting on the guard tower smoking a cigarette. As she's calmly listening in on Rose, fast asleep, she then hears over the walkie, "Mrs. Miller, if you hear me, please respond. I repeat, if you hear me, please respond." Catherine picks it up and says, "I'm here, Roger. How's the ride going?" We cut to Roger in the truck saying, "Oh yeah, it's a fucking blast. So much of a blast that it looks like we're bringing thousands of deadheads back home as a present." Catherine says, "Oh, no. Okay, it's okay. We've handled hers before. We'll handle it in the morning. Just come on home." Roger says, "No, we have to do this tonight. You know those rumors we'll be hearing about the runners?" Catherine says, "Oh no." Roger says, "Well, it's more than just a few on their way. It's a whole goddamn army." And Catherine looks freaked out, and Roger says, "We've got about 10 minutes left. They're right on our tail. I need to sound the alarm and warn everybody by the time we're back. Get all the kids to the top of the tower on Queen Street and keep them there. Make sure to put them on the top floor where they can't get to them, okay?" Catherine says, Okay. Be safe." Roger says, "We're on our way. Over and out." And Roger and Julia look so scared as the dead are still running after the truck. We see Catherine runs into the building and pulls a few buttons, and then the emergency alarm goes off as everyone runs out of their houses. Haley runs out with Billy and says, "Catherine, what the hell is going on?" Catherine is in the guard tower holding a shotgun and says, "Over 1,000 deadheads are coming, and they're all runners. They're heading this way." Haley says, "Runners?" Catherine says, "Roger and Julia are on their way back. They told me to get the kids to safety. He said the tower was the best bet." Haley says, Okay. Billy says, "Mama, I don't want to go in the tower without you." Haley says, "Look, I know you're scared, baby, but I need to help defend this place, okay? I have to defend this place, okay? I need you to be brave." Billy starts crying and says, "Please, Mom, don't go. Please don't go, Mom." Haley says, "Baby, I know you can do this, okay? You're strong. I know you are. I'll be back when this is done, okay? That's a promise. I promise you, I will get you out of here." Billy looks scared, and then she tells one of the girls named Jill, "I need you to get these children to the top of the tower and keep them protected at all times, okay?" And Jill says, "You got it, boss." And as the families go with Jill down the road, once it's just her, Luke, Miles, Amelia, and the rest of the men, Haley says, "I need 2 guards at guard post 1, 2 guards at guard post 2. Catherine is guard post 3. Laura, Tim, get to the armory. Get those explosives we found on that run last month. Bring them out. Richard, Hill, I need you guys to set up that cable. Get into position in case of emergency, like Lincoln planned. Amelia, Miles, Luke, you're with me. Now we don't have much time. Let's go!" Back with Lincoln's group. Lincoln and the others pull into a post-apocalyptic gas station. As they all get out of the truck, Lincoln says, "All right, Tom, Kezia, go in and search the place. Sydney, Rivers, you're out here with me on guard. Let's be sure there's no more surprises out here, shall we?" Tom and Kezia enter the gas station, and we see Lincoln, Sydney, and Rivers standing outside. Rivers says to Lincoln, "I gotta ask, the way you talk, the way you lead, what did you do before all this?" Lincoln says, "Prison guard." Rivers says, "Well, I guess you've been ordering people around for a long time then." Lincoln says, "No, not really. My wife, she's got the leadership qualities. She's always thinking 10 steps ahead of everyone. But me?" He chuckles and says, "I'm just the first man they saw." Rivers says, "Well, your people are lucky. It's rare that the first man they see is the perfect leader." But then they hear a loud noise coming from inside the gas station. Lincoln tells Rivers, "Stay out here." Lincoln and Sydney run in. We then see 2 men and a girl holding a rifle at Kezia's head, and another man has Tom held at knife point, and he says, "Who the hell are you? Are you one of them? Huh?" You here to kill us too? Is that it? And Tom says, hey, we didn't want any trouble. We thought it was empty. The woman says, bullshit. You people have been out here killing us one by one, and we're not going to let you do more damage than you've already done. The man says, we can't trust them. Vivian, blow the girl's head off. Tom starts fighting back and says, don't you fucking touch her, you son of a bitch. The man says, oh, don't worry, big guy. You just wait your turn. Lincoln then comes in and takes out his machete and says, I believe the policy is to let the new arrivals get first dibs. He holds his machete towards them and says, what do you think, Sid? Let's paint this room red and see what these people are made of. As they all get ready to kill each other, Rivers comes in and says, Nathan? Nathan drops the knife, and Vivian and the two others lower their weapons, and they all walk up to Rivers and hug her. Nathan says, oh my God, how are you alive? Rivers says, I've been asking myself the same question. Did you see my brother? My dad? Vivian says, sorry, girlfriend. We're all that's left as far as we know. Lincoln and Sydney lower their weapons, and Rivers says, guys, it's okay. This is Lincoln West, and these are some of his people. They're with me. Nathan says, we can trust him. Rivers says, they're why I survived it all. I'd be dead if it wasn't for them. And Nathan says, well, any friend of Rivers is a friend of mine, so I apologize. However, I'm afraid we got a bigger problem on our hands here. He shows everyone the stab wound that he has in his leg, and he says, one of these freaks in the mask threw a knife at me. One of them threw one at Vivian over there. Luckily they missed, but the bastards got me, right in the leg. Ain't that pleasant? Lincoln says, we can patch you up. We've got medical supplies back at our community. We can get you fixed up there. Nathan says, thanks, but you just threatened to paint this room red with my insides. Lincoln laughs and says, well, I'm glad it didn't go down that way. It would have been a shame for you. We see Haley on her deck getting suited up, and Luke and Amelia come out of the house, and Amelia says, the family's made it to the top of the tower. Haley loads her gun and says, good. Amelia says, here. She pulls out a bottle of liquor, and she says, if this is our last night, let's make the best of it. Haley takes a swig and hands it to Luke, and Luke takes a drink also, and he says, you think we're ready? Haley says, we're as ready as we can be. Amelia says, Laura said the explosives are in place. You sure this will work? Once those explosives go off, that gate's likely going to be coming down. Haley says, it doesn't matter. If these runners are as dangerous as they sound, the gates are going to fall whether we want it to or not. Luke says, the wall comes down, it's over. Haley says, the wall wants to fall? Let it fall. We can fix the wall in time. The wall can go down, but we can't. So let's get ready. Luke and Amelia both look at Haley, and she takes the last swig of booze and says, because we're going to be up all night. As we see everyone is getting packed up, Tom says, hold on your tits, bros and sisses. The truck's almost out of fuel. I gotta fill up a sec. Nathan says, does he always talk like a Newfoundlander? Rivers says, no shit. You'll get used to it. We see Lincoln gets on his motorcycle, and Sydney walks up to him and says, the truck doesn't have enough room for all of us, boss. Looks like I'm riding the back of you. Lincoln says, alright. And he passes her a helmet, and she chuckles and says, that for you? Lincoln says, here, take it. Sydney says, you don't have one. Lincoln says, yes, but I am the motorcycle expert, okay? You see, the importance of riding a motorcycle is safety, first of all. Now, at the time I've learned a lot, of Sydney says, yeah, sounds great, put that crap away. Lincoln puts the helmet away and says, alright, hang on tight. Sydney says, yep, you just worry about steering. Vivian walks up to one of her friends that looks a little scared, and she says, hey, you alright? The guy says, it's just my brothers. And Mom. I miss them so much. We then hear in the background Tom says, I spilled gas on my pants. I didn't know it was diesel. Nathan says, here, let me do it. Vivian looks at her friend, and she puts her hand on his shoulder and she says, listen, we didn't make it here for nothing. Because I still believe we've got things left to do. And they wouldn't want us to give up. We found Rivers. That's gotta mean something. Come on. Don't tell me you're giving up on me now. Her friend says, I'll never give up. Her friend is then shot in the eye socket with an arrow, and Vivian looks shocked, and his friend is still talking and says, I'll never give up. I'll never give up. I'll never give. I'll never. and he falls to his death.
Damn.
Vivian looks back at everyone else and says, "Run!" Several arrows are then fired. One of them hits Tom right in the shoulder.
Oh,
Lincoln
shit.
quickly grabs him, and Sydney grabs Snoop Dogg as they all take everyone else and run into the woods. Lincoln looks back and sees the dead man bleeding out and says, "Go! Go!"
Wow. What the hell? Damn, that's crazy. What a way to do it. Swing it. Cool your tits there, Danielle. Don't be saying crazy things in the chat, please. Let's keep it cool and chill. Calm and collected, please. Wilson Rogers, how's it doing? Threw something over the course of this time skip. And they run now, that's crazy. They better run, yeah. Holy crap, holy. That's craziness. Wow. Damn, that was a lot. That was a lot, but that was really good. It was looking. It's raining outside. I think it is. You calm yourself from what you're saying in the chat there, Daniel. No need to be getting crazy. It's not necessary. Well, after doing this next part, it's actually going to make it not possible, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, let's. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep it cool and chill, please. Let's have the courtesy, please. Let's not just jump on, saying crazy things in the chat, please. Let's not do that. Otherwise, your comment will be removed and potentially timed out. So, control yourself, please. We don't do that kind of craziness here. To have fun and stay cool and chill and calm and collected want to get crazy, take that somewhere else. But yeah, lots to unpack here. Part 2 continues the craziness. Yeah. I didn't have any issues with it. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Macaroni 10. Macaroni 10. W's, bro. It's a nice way to start. What the hell? Oh my god. What in the world? What in the world? That doesn't even look like an actual number. That doesn't even look like, you don't even have the right amount of numbers for it to be a number. Appreciate it, Dan. Sorry, but you gotta calm down. Yeah, some people get crazy in here. I tell you what. Like I said, I do got to start making the sleep streams members only. So I am going to start slowly doing that. Because good lordy lord, I just haven't gotten the chance to. Yeah, for real. Yeah, you guys gotta learn to behave yourselves if you're trying to go crazy daisy. You gotta understand when I'm doing Pacific streams like this, for instance. Compare, you thinking that on that Pacific stream, and you're comparing it to this, they're two totally different streams. What I'm doing there is not anywhere near what I'm going to do here. Alright? Totally different. I separated for a reason. And I'll never collide it, never. Because that's not the point of this type of stream. It's a reaction to shows or series or whatever. So I'm never going to go crazy, okay? And if you want that, then you become a member and you help support me. That's the only way you're going to get it going forward. Otherwise, you ain't getting it from me anymore. So, but yeah, 10 out of 10. I give it a smackaroni 10. I don't have anything I did not like about it. It was really fucking good. I like the introduction of the new character Rivers. The crazy masked people I thought was pretty cool, and wicked and creepy. Dave was freaking hysterical for the points that he had, but he seems to be doing pretty fire. Tom He's fucking hysterical. You better not kill him off this season. I hope he doesn't die, because my heart will break. Surely. He is fucking hysterical. He really is hysterical. He is a fun one. If he dies, man, oh man, I'm not saying you're gonna get a tear from me, but jeez, you're gonna break me. I'll tell you what. That will be a sad one. I'll tell you what. David has a wife and daughter again. Nice to see him and be happy. Exactly. School don't need to be protected? Yes, 100%. 100%. Hopefully, yeah. Yeah, I hope so, man. Damn. That'll be a killer right there. So, but yeah, I give it a perfect 10. I'm amazed. I did not think I'd be coming into this season starting off with a 10. That's crazy. That is crazy, but it really was that good. I did not have any issues with it. I mean, it had everything. It had a twist to it. It had a craziness to it. The way you're presenting it is really neat and cool. It had lots of funny moments. I mean, I just was digging it, truly. So, yeah, perfect 10. That was good. That was really good. Well, I can't give you it back right now. I cannot, because it costs money to do so. And I don't have really any money to do so. Money I have is for bills, and I gotta pay them first. So that's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna say. So probably gotta wait. Alright, well then yeah, you need to send some then for it. Yeah, no, 10 out of 10 though. Good episode. You see Dave in season 1. You see him here. Two completely different people. Well, yeah. Yeah, I was like, fuck Dave. Huh. And actually in season 3 is where was it season 3 or was it season 2? I think it was season 3 is when he completely switched his character completely around. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. Damn. Didn't think it'd make me like that character, but he did. I was surprised. I was very amazed, but you did. Playing up the 2 parts is still 1 episode, so we'll see how the rest goes for you. Okay, well. It is what it is, but try to get it as quick as you can. Let me try to not do much of anything. to save up your money, maybe? Would be a recommendation. Putting that out there. Just a recommendation. Like I said, I'm keeping shit as tight as possible right now. I'm not doing pretty much anything, really. As tight can be. So my car at the moment is in the shop, so and my few family members are helping me with that. So but anyways, getting from that situation. Appreciate the new sub. Thank you. Appreciate the support on Wonker Did's Zombie Apocalypse series. That was very good. So, very good. Very good. Yeah, I give it a 10. Perfect episode. So, new subs, let's go. That's right. Yeah, you keep getting. We're now 14 away at this point. Out of 10, hell yeah. Yeah, I didn't have any issues with it. It was a great episode. So. Damn good. So. Alrighty. So, jumping into part 2, the new Hedgehog Bros tonight. No way I'm gonna have time now, but it's fine. Not the end of the world. I'm already freaking behind on that. Never gets better for me on that one. It's gonna take me a month before I get called back.
We see a dark sky. As we see, it's starting to rain. We then hear the sound of someone running through the woods. And that's when we see a man covered in blood running through the woods as fast as he can. We see he's limping really bad and he's trying to run as much as he can. We see him stop and he falls down from running so long. He takes a second to catch his breath as he pulls out a piece of paper from his pocket. As we see, the letter says, "I'm sorry we fought. Even though we wanted different things, we still wanted the same conclusion. Us, you and me, making it out of this alive. I'm going out for a bit to find more food. People are going to start going hungry soon, and we can't let that happen. I would ask you to convince Dad to leave, but I don't think you will. You won't. But we can't stay here. Bad people are coming to hurt this place. Right now. To hurt us. And when they do, we won't just lose our camp, we'll lose everything that we've fought to keep for years. So please, reconsider. I'll be back soon. I love you, little bro. Rivers." The man looks at the note and starts breaking down, and he is whispering, "I'm so sorry, sis. I'm so sorry. We then see him put the note back in his pocket as he takes a look at his messed up leg that looks to have been cut up, and as he looks scared, he tries to keep moving, but then it starts raining so hard that it's hard to see what's in front of him. But as he keeps walking through the woods trying to get away, he sees in the distance a shadow of a man.
Uh-oh.
The man is standing there holding a chainsaw.
Oh shit. That's Psycho again.
As he starts to panic, he tries to turn the other way, but he's blocked off by 4 other men. As they all surround this man from every direction, we see their masks all light up in the dark.
Shit.
The other 4 take out big knives as they corner him. As the man looks scared, he says, I give up. He drops the only weapon he had on him, a small hatchet, and says to them, Please don't. The men pull out a rope and tie him to a tree. As we see the man is having a panic attack, he is having trouble breathing, and he looks at the man with the chainsaw and says, What did you do to her? Where's my sister? Answer me, please! The man pulls out the chainsaw. He starts it, and the man says, No, please, don't!
Oh, shit.
The man sticks the chainsaw directly into the guy's stomach as he screams out in pain. He pulls the chainsaw all the way up his chest and all the way up to his neck. The man then takes the chainsaw out of his neck as it pours all over the grass. He turns off the chainsaw and hands it to one of the other men.
Wow.
The man in the mask then walks up to the dead corpse up the tree and starts patting the guy's head, and he says, The man then checks his pockets and finds the note. The note is dripping blood, and the man can't make out what it says anymore. He crumbles it and turns around to the other men and nods at them. They all turn off their masks and continue to walk through the woods.
Oh, was her brother? Damn.
As we see them walking through the woods in a pack, they stumble across one of their men who's been killed. As we see them find their friend dead. They notice that they were shot in the head. This is confirming that this was the man Sidney killed. The men all still don't speak, but the main guy rubs the dead man's forehead in sadness. And all 5 of these men hold hands as we zoom out. They all stand around this dead corpse and mourn their dead brother.
Wow. What a way to start. Jeez. Damn. It's a guts and glory in another way, brother.
Back at Kingstonville, Catherine looks out with her binoculars, and she sees a truck driving towards the gate. Catherine says, Hey, open the gate! They're here! 2 of the men quickly open the gate and let Roger and Julia in. They quickly close the gate, and Roger and Julia get out of the truck, very freaked out. And Haley walks up with Amelia and Luke by her side and says, Oh my God, what the hell happened? Roger, all out of breath, tells her, We were out there doing our nightly patrol outside the walls when this big group of the dead came running after us. They ran after the truck. They were more crazy than any deadhead I've ever seen in my life. Haley says, Okay, how far were they? Roger says, I don't know. Maybe 3-4 minutes out now? Haley says, Okay, I know you're scared, okay? But I need all hands on deck here, okay? Julia says, I'm ready. Give me a gun. Haley says, Julia, you sure? I know after what happened Julia says, I'm fine. You want fighters? I'm here. Roger says, all right. If the kid can, I can. So let's take down these sons of bitches. Haley says, all right, Laura, we good with those explosives? Laura says, we're on it, boss. And we see all of the fighters of Kingstonville standing behind Haley as she says, okay, everyone back up. Guns up. Haley then says, okay. Catherine looks out and gives Haley a look of fear from the guard tower and says, they're here. Haley says, okay, Here they come. The deadheads all run to the gate and start banging on the walls as hard as they can. As they all pile up, we see Haley, Miles, Luke, and the others all look freaked out. We see the dead banging on the walls. Haley and the rest notice that all the walls are moving. And Haley says, "Okay, Miles, Luke, Amelia, you're up." As we see all three of them pull out lighters and light up the cable. As we then see a big line of fire in front of the walls, the flames rise as everyone gets back. The dead push against the wall, and then the wall collapses as the dead start running in and towards the fire.
Shit.
They all walk on the cable. We then see a big explosion as the explosives have gone off. It killed a lot of the herd, but then Miles says, "Son of a dick," as even more start walking over the dead bodies, and even more of the dead start running towards Haley and the others, and Roger says, "Inside, now, go!" As we see the herd running after our group, they all run into a house as fast as they can. Haley, Miles, Julia, Amelia, Roger, and Luke have all just barely made it into this house and closed the door. And Haley says, "Shit," as the dead are banging at the front door.
Oh, God. Hope that door is steel. Christ. Shit.
Back with Lincoln's group, we see them running through the woods with an injured Tom, and we see Snoop Dogg barking as Lincoln says, "Shh, boy, keep it down." We then see Kezia, who says, "What do you see, boy?" She sees an old barn and says, "Good boy." She shows the others and says, "There." They all enter the old barn. They open the door, and Lincoln kills two deadheads with his machete and says, "In here." They all walk in, and Sydney puts a board between both barn doors to lock themselves in, and Lincoln says, "Kezia, check the back." Kezia takes a look and says, "We're okay." And Lincoln looks at Tom and says, "All right, we need to stop this bleeding immediately." Kezia then whispers, "Guys?" They all look scared, and she says, "It's only a few dead." And Kezia looks relieved. They then hear a knock at the front door of the barn. They all start to panic as the apostles surround the barn with their masks lit up. They pull out their knives, and the man in the front pulls out a chainsaw. As he slowly starts it, Sydney says, "I've only got 2 bullets left." Lincoln says, "I've got 1. There's a lot more out there than that." As we see the apostles standing outside the barn, we see Rivers is saying, "Lord, show me a sign," as they all face the door and get ready to fight. In Kingstonville, Haley and the others are trapped inside of the house, and she says, "Lord, give me a sign, please." Both groups stand by the doors ready to fight. Lincoln and the group gets ready. Haley and the group in the house get ready. Out of nowhere, the 2 apostles bust through the back door. Sydney shoots 2 and Lincoln shoots 1. As he pulls out his machete, they fight to the death.
Damn.
In Kingstonville, the dead push up against the door and bust through the door. As Haley, Miles, Amelia, Julia, Luke, and Roger all stand there killing one after another that are running in. As we see in slow motion, everyone fighting, we see they're all fighting for their lives. Lincoln then tackles one of the apostles and starts beating its head in. But then we hear the sound of a motorcycle driving towards the barn. As the apostles turn around, we see Dave drives in on Lincoln's motorcycle and starts mowing down the remaining apostles with a machine gun. And as Lincoln and the others see this, they all start slicing up the apostles who try to get in their way. As Lincoln kills 2 at a time with his machete, we see everyone stands together to finish off the apostles. Dave then stops the bike as we see Lincoln, Sydney, Kezia, Rivers, and Nathan come out of the barn. As we see Dave gets off of his bike, and Lincoln says, "I'll be damned." Dave says, "I see you had a little trouble." Lincoln then walks up to Dave and hugs him, and Dave hands him the keys to his bike and says, "Was out for a hunt when I saw your bike was snatched up by a murder site. Figured you want it back." Lincoln says, "Well, thank God you're here." Dave sees Rivers, Nathan, and Vivian and says, Who the hell are these folks? Lincoln says, long story. Look, we gotta get back to the truck now. We see Tom, and Dave says to him, what the hell happened to you? Tom says, you know, just another day in this fucking world gone mad. As Dave gives Sydney a hand with Tom, and Lincoln says, let's get back. And Dave says, all right, lead the way, Mr. West.
Fucking Dave.
We see Lincoln and Sydney riding the bike. Dave and the others are riding in the truck behind them. And Lincoln pulls into the old cabin that they stayed at during the Viper War. Lincoln pulls over and everyone gets out of the truck. Nathan says, the hell are we still out here for? Lincoln opens the cabin door and says, guns, some things we're gonna need. Lincoln then goes into the cabin and starts taking the floorboards out, and we see Sydney and Dave help him pull out this big bag of guns, ammunition, and even a rocket launcher. And Nathan says, what's all this? Lincoln says, me, Dave, and Sydney stashed this out here about a year ago, when things started to go bad in Kingstonville. River says, what the hell happened? Lincoln says, old friends became new enemies. And Dave says, these masked pricks are gonna find us sooner or later. We gotta be ready. Lincoln says, all right, let's get these loaded up. Let's get back. Back in Kingstonville, we see Haley and the others are still fighting inside of the house. As we see how tired they all look, the dead keep running to them. Haley tries to block them with shells, but nothing is working. As they kill one after another, we then hear the dead start hearing gunfire. All of a sudden, the dead start running outside of the house. We then see Catherine with a machine gun who yells, hey, you hungry? I'm right here, you sons of bitches. Come get me. Come on. Haley and the others see this from the window, and they all smile as Roger says, I knew Dave married her for a reason. And Haley and the others start fighting back. The dead then start running after Catherine. Catherine then climbs up the guard tower and grabs a basket full of machine guns and points down to the dead and says, this is for you, Paul. She starts firing down at the dead until she runs out of ammo. She picks up the next gun and keeps firing. Haley and the rest fight through the house and run outside as more deadheads down the street see them, and Haley says, come on! Catherine is firing down at the dead as we see Haley, Miles, Luke, Roger, Julia, and Amelia, who are covered in blood, and they all back up against the wall of Kingstonville. As the dead are running towards them, we see they're together, but they are backed up against the wall. As they are ready to die, Haley says, I'm sorry, Lincoln.
No.
Out of nowhere, we see a big explosion as we see Lincoln and the others drive in, and we see Kezia holding a rocket launcher, and she says, it's good to be home. And she loads another rocket and fires. As they all run in and fight the dead together. Catherine sees this from the guard tower. Out of nowhere, all of the dead surrounding the guard tower get killed by Rivers and Nathan with machine guns. As she looks up, and Rivers looks at Nathan, and Nathan says, well, home sweet home it is. Lincoln, Haley, Dave, Sydney, even an injured Tom is still fighting. As we see Miles with his two swords as he's slicing two and kicks another. We then see everyone stands together, taking their home back, as they all stand together and kill them all.
Damn. I'm already giving this another 10.
We see it's over. We see the streets of Kingstonville are filled with dead bodies. And as we see Dave and Lincoln walking through the streets, making sure the rest of them are all dead, Dave says, well, that was one hell of a welcome home. Lincoln says, you don't say. He stabs another one in the head and says, I think that's all of them. Dave says, for now. We see Tom is lying in the infirmary. and Snoop Dogg is just looking at him with those big eyes of his, and Tom says, "What? You find this amusing?" He barks, and we see he's laying on Julia's lap, as they're both next to Tom, as the doctor says, "Well, you've definitely lost some blood, but it's nothing a few days won't fix. I highly recommend you take it easy for the next few days, okay, Tom? Don't use your arm so much, and you should be as good as new." And he says, "Okay." Julia looks happy to see that he's okay, and Tom says, "Thanks, Doc." And the doctor, named Carson, says, "I should really be thanking you. You saved this place last night while me and my wife and kids were hiding in that tower last night. Thank you." And Tom nods, and then he walks out. We see Dave standing by his dad's grave as we see the people throwing out the dead bodies in the background. Dave says, "Thanks, Dad, for saving this place. I know people say you didn't, but I truly believe that your courage, your..." And he starts crying and says, "Your kindness, your motivation to keep this place safe from the hell outside. You gave us that courage last night, Dad. All my thanks go to you." He puts his head down. Rose runs up to him, and he picks her up and says, "Oh, there you are, my little angel." Catherine walks up to him and says, "I knew you'd be back." Dave says, "I always do." Catherine kisses him. As we zoom out on Paul's grave, we see a family reunion. We see Lincoln walks over to the garage with Haley, and we then see them open the door, and we see Dave, Tom, Sydney, Luke.
Give me 1 second. Hold on.
Roger, Kezia, Vivian, and Nathan. And Haley looks at Nathan, and Nathan says, "Hi, you must be Mrs. West." Haley says, "Yeah, nice to meet you. So what's going on here?" Roger says, "Rivers and Sydney are out with a team dumping out the dead bodies out there. While they're at it, Lincoln has something he wants to share with us first before we tell the others." Lincoln says, "That's right. We don't want to alert anybody in case this isn't anything." And Luke says, "So what's going on?" We see Sydney and Rivers burning the bodies outside of the walls as we hear Lincoln narrating. Lincoln says, "We had a run-in with these men named the Apostles. They were coming after Rivers, Vivian, and Nathan here, along with a few of their friends that didn't make it." We see Rivers and Sydney burning the dead bodies, as Lincoln says. "Now these people massacred groups, killed people, brutally. And the one thing we know is, they don't stop until you're dead." Nathan says, "When our camp was attacked, they had 20 men on their side. And from what we saw out there last night, There's more of them out there than we thought. Haley says, oh my God. Lincoln says, now we don't need to start a panic. If they come, we're gonna handle it. But we need to be prepared to. And we see everyone in the garage is on full alert and seems to agree, as we see Sydney and River standing there as the bodies burn.
Wow.
River says to Sydney, I'll drive. And Sydney hands her the keys, and as she gets in the driver's seat, she smiles, and Sydney asks, what is it? As we see flashes of her in the truck from before, and she looks scared, and she was crying. And now, in the current timeline, we see her. She looks happy and not afraid anymore. And she looks at Sydney and says, not a thing. And as they pull out, we see them drive out. As the sun comes up, we see them driving down the road.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 10. I'm giving it a 10 already. It's seriously, it's good. Like well, that was it. Wow. Damn, quality is truly amazing. I can't imagine what season 5 is going to be. Jesus. Yeah, 10 out of 10, truly. Part 1 was a 10, part 2 is a 10. Only stop, yeah, truly. Yeah, this shit's good, man.
We see a bloody chainsaw, still dripping with blood. We see the apostles have just killed somebody else. They wipe the blood off of the chainsaw. They then slowly start taking their mask off. As we see, it's a woman.
Oh.
We then see another apostle walks up to her, and she says, he was weak, just like the others. The man walks up to her and says, Bishop sends his regards. We're almost done here. The woman smiles and says, let's make the last of these people pay, big bro. We then see another apostle walks up to them both and says, location's clear, Mr. West. And the man takes off his mask to reveal he is James West, Lincoln's brother. And he says, good. We're almost done here. But I feel like there's a reason why we can't find the woman yet. Ashley, Lincoln's young sister, is also the woman, and says, well, the question isn't who's gonna let us. The question is, who's gonna stop us? And they both walk away. As we zoom out, we see blood dripping off the tree. As we see it pouring onto the screen, as we cut to black.
Damn. Wow. Yeah, that. Wow. That is crazy. What a way to end it. Huh. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Damn. You have completely blown me away with this writing. I tell you what. I am completely blown away. Truly. Remind me on it. I've been, my sleep has been very, very heavy. certain situations. So yeah. And having to get up early. So. Yeah. Brother and sister are here in the park. Yeah, that's insanity. That's crazy. Let's see Alicia's actors. Her full potential next year. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Hey, I'm totally down. We should be better than this, right? Truly, though, freaking awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a 10 for me. Both parts, they're a 10. There was nothing I didn't like. I mean, yeah, there wasn't nothing I didn't like. I truly thought it was amazing how everything just kind of movie played out, and how you set everything up, you know what I mean, and then how you executed it. It was just very good. So, well done. Honestly, truly, I'm impressed. Truly. So, congrats on that. Yeah, bro. Freaking proud of you. This is why I keep trying to like sleep in longer. It's such a thing, 'cause glad you're digging it, man. Yeah. From everything in the scares on the new villains, big character movements, new styles, years to make all. They can believe it. Yeah, that's crazy, brother. That's crazy. No wonder why it's taking longer for season 5. Definitely cares how many seasons you're gonna do with this, too. Stupid fan. Sorry, stupid things are going. I don't know, sometimes. Survive even bigger than this, if you can believe it. Honestly, you keep blowing my expectations away, so really. Should it? Keep impressing me as you go. So, yeah. So, and I just keep getting more and more behind. Listen. How many seasons? Well, I can't say because it's part of the journey. Peak of World on Man has not been hit yet. I can promise it. Fire reaction. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed, my good friend. I apologize for the stupid interruptions that we had. Because that is very irritating. I don't like to have that. Especially when I'm getting immersed in it, and then all of a sudden I get completely interrupted for something stupid. Because people don't have respect, and they're bastards, and they freaking put me in stupid ass things that should not be putting me in. Because for whatever dumb reason they think I should be part of it. I don't know. But so good life happens on them. Well, you know, with my sister's situation, that's one thing. And I'm not bitching about that one. That one is kind of like, well, it is what it is. But the other thing, that one shouldn't have happened. If you know what I mean. So they should have got the picture when I first left and this and that. They should have not re-put me back in. That was stupid. So that just tells you they don't have no respect. So. But yeah, no, 10 out of 10. Honestly, I give both of them a 10. I really didn't find anything I didn't like. I'll be curious to see how episode 2 and episode 3, how it plays out. And if it continues that craziness level, at this point I'm not gonna really believe it won't. But damn, you know. Okay, that's great. Listen, I don't care to hear anymore. Alright, please. I'm just gonna say good luck. Don't go into any more details. I don't want to know. I don't care to know. Okay. You do you. Simple as that. As quick as you can. That's all I'm saying. Nothing more. Alright? No reason to drag it on longer. Please. Alright, tired me out. You killed me all last week, and you partly killed me as part of this week. So, for the sake of me, please, just, let it rest. If you could. Before I go more insane. There was a lot of content I wanted to do, and I could not do it. Thanks to, not having any energy. Because of you. So yeah. That would be great. That's fine, but I don't care. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You're eating into my schedule, and I am not liking it. So, back off, so I can do my schedule before I go insane anymore. Please. And enough on my plate as it is. Like I said, I don't want to know what the frick you're doing with that or this or whatever. I don't care. Alright? Just as quick as you can. That's all I give a shit about. You know. Try not to drag this on for frickin' ever, please. Because I don't want you on my channel anymore. Alright? If you get the idea, nobody wants any more of it. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be respectful of it. Alright? Be happy I'm not getting angry. Okay, I'm just being neutral. But yes, please just, I don't need to know details. That's your concern, not my concern. But just don't try to drag it on for too long because we want it to be done. So simple as that. Nothing more than that. So, yeah, exactly. I don't either. I don't either. You're gonna make me freaking blow up into pieces. So, I mean, seriously, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is why I can't take it anymore. I seriously cannot. You're driving me nuts. I'm going insane. I'm literally losing my insanity. Like, holy fuck. What shit is dragged on? That's why my parents don't ask about it, because they're like, I don't want to know. I don't care. It's too much. It's too much. And frankly, I don't want to know. But unfortunately, I get no. Right. Yeah. Like I said, I get what you're trying to say. But you don't, I just don't, you don't gotta say it here, okay? You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Because like I said, and that's what I mean. That's why I make hate streams on certain people, okay? Just to give that more clarity. Because when they say it in the chat, you're saying it on the channel. So it's everybody can fucking see everything. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point I get across. And then you wonder why I make hate streams on those people. Because you're bringing the shit on here. It's like, I'm gonna call your ass out. I don't care. You know? So. But anyways, I have to go. So. My sister has to get me. So. I have to rock and roll, and why are these fuckers? Oh my, bro, what is with these fucking people, dude? Don't be adding me on Discord with this shit either, please. Damn, these fucking people don't know. And go to hell. All of them. Is that more of them? Jeez, man. Every single one of them. I tell you what. Well, just send it to Mr. Blob, which is what you've been sending it to. Just send it to him. That's what you did before. I mean, just send it to him then. Don't send it here. When everybody sees what you're saying. I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing. I don't want to be talking about your situation. That's the last thing I want to be doing. You get what I'm saying? Alright. So yeah, great review. Or just send it on my Snapchat. I did not block you on there. If you need to send it there, then fine, send it there. Whatever. But just don't. If you don't want other people to know, then don't bring it in the chat. Just making that clear. All right. So, but yeah, 10 out of 10 for both. They're really good. Smash the like, subscribe. Would appreciate it. Like I said, I'll have the playlist below. Dan Reviews' channel is in the description, as well as the playlist for the universe. Just don't oversend too much, alright? Don't keep trying to apologize, don't keep trying to say all that crap, because as I stated before, you're just gonna make it worse. So just keep it short, sweet, to the point, and that's it. Don't say no more. But yeah, anyways, see you guys in the next one. More fart content tonight. I'm definitely having more streams for sure. We'll continue with Hedgehog Bros as the first one back, and then Should Have Us Part 2. So, anyways, see you guys in the next one. Peace. Subscribe to Dan. Links below. Show them love.